everyone, it's Toast. Today I'm going to be showing you guys how I did this effect in my most recent edit. It's pretty easy and I'm ready to finally break this down for you guys. Now roll that intro. First of all, we're going to have our time remapped clip here. The first thing that we're going to do is we're going to make a depth map. I like using BCC depth map ML. It's probably the best depth map, and I would recommend you guys getting BCC 2026 if you don't already have it. All right, next we're going to go to model. We're going to change this to best. So now it's as good as we can get. Now I will say that this can be kind of demanding on some people's computers. It does run pretty well, but it can slow the editing process a lot if you don't have a beefy computer. So what I would recommend is just exporting it like this. Just go ahead, export this. If you have Anubis, run it through that. If you don't, just like any other video, you're gonna export it and you're just gonna drag it back in. I have a pretty beefy computer, so I don't really have to export these. I tend to just leave it there and then I'll get like 2 clips done and then just bake it all together so then I can continue to edit. But if you have a weaker computer, I would just recommend just baking this. You can also use depth scanner. I don't entirely recommend it. It is a lot weaker. It's not as good of a depth scan. It does run like shit. It runs like shit. There's also obviously depth anything if you guys want to run that through there as well. All right, let's get started here. So I like to keyframe these two, the level far, level near. I sometimes change the contrast and the brightness depending on the scene, but we're just gonna keep it simple here. And we're actually just gonna drag these to the middle of the clip. And we're gonna have this fade inwards like that. Very simple effect, right? I do this all the time and it adds a lot to your edits sometimes. We're just gonna turn this off now and we're going to add a solid. And you're going to see where it says track mat here. We're going to pin whip tool this onto the depth map. So then you're going to have these two options right here. We have alpha and luma, and then the option to invert the map. Alpha is obviously your whites and luma is obviously your blacks. So if we go ahead and look at the depth map, you can see we see the whites here. We don't want it to cover the whites. We want it to cover the blacks. So what we're going to do is turn it to luma, and you can already see it's here, but it looks strange, right? Well, so we're going to invert it so then it's only the whites and not the background. So we can see that the background's here. So all we're going to do is just increase this a little, maybe have her come in a little more bright here. Let's make sure this is also keyframed at the beginning. There you go. Pretty simple. Just gonna tidy this up, make it look a little better, right? Okay, nice. We have something rolling. Next would actually just be the glasses. So we're gonna click on this bottom layer here. We're gonna duplicate that and solo it. So we're back to just the remap. We're gonna put something called composite brush. Now, composite brush essentially just takes whatever you highlight and changes it to that color. So right now it's on red. If we click on anything, it will change it to that color. Now what we're going to do actually is use this for masking instead of using roto, because it saves us so much more time, right? What we're going to do, we're just going to highlight all this, right? Get it all red as much as possible, okay? Well, we're going to go to HSV color here, and we're just going to replace with the alpha. And then there you go, it's all gone here. See the glasses here? We're going to hit Alt and go in the middle here. And try to get all the colors in the glasses as much as possible and try to get everything else out. So now I essentially basically have every color, but you can see her lips are still there. Her eyes are kind of fucked at the end, so I'm just gonna make sure that we have all the color from the eyes too. Make it as good as possible. And we don't have to worry too much about the eyes because we're going to have the layer below it, right? That's going to fill in the color of the eyes, and it's okay. But we just want the general like color of it. But you can see like there's still bits here that we can't get rid of because it's the same color as the eyes. Pretty easy. All we're going to do is pre-compose this. And then we're going to get the pen tool by hitting G, and then we're gonna isolate this. So we're just gonna highlight here. We're just gonna mask it. Now we just have the glasses. So hit M on your keyboard. We're gonna go mask path, and you're gonna see it's gonna move. All we're gonna do is just move that mask up. So we're gonna highlight all of these here. And we're just gonna move that mask up to her eyes right here. And we're gonna see how good the graph is. If it's not the best, we're going to find a frame like here, and we're just gonna fix it. So this is all you have to do. It's so much faster than actually trying to sit there and mask everything with Roto or any of that. It's not perfect. You can see her lips kind of start to show here. So I'm just gonna fix that by just taking the mask up. Okay, now it's starting to cut off the glasses, so we're just gonna take the mask down a little on this frame. Gonna look like that. There you go, now you have it isolated. So now we can start adding like glow and God rays. So we're gonna pre-compose again, so now we have this alone, and we're gonna add like deep glow. And then we're gonna add Crate's God rays, or any other God rays that you guys have, but I really like Crate's. It's a little bright, so I'm just gonna turn down the length and the exposure just a bit. I like to animate the position, so she goes up, so the glasses should shine this way, and then she puts it on her face, so they should go down, right? Like that. It's gonna look kind of ridiculous right now, but we're gonna mess with the graph, make it work and everything. Now we can drag this above our fog and then turn everything else on. And then now we kind of have the effect going. So I think this just goes a little too high, so I'm just gonna point these down instead. That. And then maybe instead it's just gonna go up and point towards you. Now I think she's a little too bright, so we're gonna have the fog just a little darker here. Now in my edit, I have a lot of things going on, and that's why I have the project file linked in the description. It's free, you guys can go check it out. If you do, make sure you like, subscribe. But in the project file, you will find some light leaks. And what I like to do with light leaks is I'll drag them in and I will just map them to the depth map. So now we have it matted to the depth map. And we can do so much with this. We can add some blur, so then the colors kind of merge, and then add like QSAT, do stuff like that. A big thing as well is like just duplicating them and turning them and just messing around with it. Again, I'll have the project file to the original in the description, so then you can get the original light leak and all of that as well, and just work with it. You can do so much with these depth maps, and I really want to put emphasis on that because I think they're really underutilized right now. Like you can take these here, like these light leaks, do something like that. See, like there's so much you can do. There's infinite possibilities. You can do so much with it. Okay, now also during the edit, I have a bunch of fog as well. So we're actually gonna add a solid, and I like using nebulosity. Now some people like just using normal fractal. That's also good. Nebulosity can kind of slow down your render times. So if you don't have a good computer, I would recommend just using normal fractal. So what we're gonna do here actually is just turn up the width and the height. So now we have everything covered. We're going to go to scatter and we're gonna change the color. Some parts of the edit, I just have normal fog. Other parts, I keep this red and I just change the hue saturation throughout the entire thing. So we're just gonna do that for this clip, why not? So we're just gonna turn it all the way up, and we can easily manipulate nebulosity here. Nebulosity is like a cheat code. What we can do is take the noise, and you see there's evolution. Keyframe that evolution, go to the end, and just turn it up a little. But we don't want it to move too fast, you know? So like that. See, that's really nice, right? Now, what we can also do with that, obviously this can be animated, so if you're doing a transition, anything like that. But what you can also do is offset this so it moves in the direction you want, so we can have it go downwards or upwards, like so, with the offset. Now you might be wondering, oh, how are we gonna have this like over the entire thing? We're gonna put this on the depth map. And there you go. Now she's covered with fog. What I like to do is duplicate this and then have one inverted. So now we have the fog, but we're gonna drag this below the light, and then we're just gonna make sure this is not as strong, so we can change the blending mode, like add overlay, then we have something going on here, right? Obviously, if we had like different light leaks and stuff like that, so it might be a little too dense, right? And so we're gonna go back to scattering, and then we're gonna change the density so it's not so strong. And then what you can do is actually animate that density. We can have it come in stronger, or as most people do, we'll have it a little strong, and then it kind of goes out like this. Now, her glasses, as you can see, are not the same. So we're just going to do the same thing. We're just going to change the hue saturation. We're going to keyframe it. And we're just going to go all the way to the end. I'm going to have it just spin twice to over-exaggerate it for this. You can see her glasses are now like doing that. And then we're also going to add like a flicker maybe to her glasses. Just to give it that like vibe, you know? A little strong, so I'm just gonna turn down a bit. That is essentially the gist of how I did this. Obviously it's not one-to-one, and if you want to get a one-to-one, I would recommend opening the project file, going through and seeing exactly how I did everything. But this is essentially how I started doing something like this and then just worked around it. The more effort that you put into this and the more things that you layer on top of this, the better it will look. That's all for this tutorial. I hope you guys enjoyed. Make sure you like, subscribe, and check out the free project file in the description. Love you all, and have a good one.